Hello everyone, this is Tyler with Finding Freedom. Welcome to my video today. Thank you so much for being here. So excited to help you guys out. This channel, for anybody that's new, is just basically help you guys out with anything involving finances, as well as getting you motivated to get through the week and get your life rolling. Because I know that we're all human. We all get down in the dumps sometimes, and sometimes we just need somebody else to help us out and get our spirits back up. So that's what I want to do today. Is I want to touch on the finance side of it, and I want to help you guys out with credit cards. I know there's a lot of people out there that are either really scared of credit cards or they don't exactly know how they work. So I want to use the video today to explain exactly how they work, what to look out for, and why you shouldn't be scared of them. So let's get into this. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do with you guys is I want to get you guys comfortable with credit cards, because they're not something to be feared. I know a lot of us growing up, we've heard from adults that cards are the worst, credit cards are the worst thing that you can get. They'll just get you in a whole bunch of debt, and you just want to stay away from them. Now, this isn't true. Credit cards can be your saving grace is if your credit has went to crap over the years, because I know we're all young adults. We get into things that we don't want to pay off. We forget about things, and life happens sometimes. I just want to show you guys, explain how a credit card works. That way you can understand and you can decide if this is something that would work for you, that would help you out. Because I've used a credit card to bump my credit score over 30 points within a year. And I mean, anybody can do it. Now, I was in the 500, so if for those people that know about credit, it's a little easier whenever you're a lower score. For you guys that are a lower score, you can understand how hard it is to get loans for your car, to get a mortgage. You're definitely not going to be able to buy a house with that unless you have a really nice down payment. And I mean, it just makes it hard in life to do a lot of things if you don't have great credit. So I want to make this video to explain how credit cards work, as well as to get you guys comfortable with it. Like I said, I've used them myself, and as long as you're financially responsible, then they can help you guys out a ton as well. Now, the way that I would recommend using them, and this is my recommendation for you guys, so I'm not telling you guys how to use them, I'm just recommending my opinion for them. The way I use it is I keep it in case of an emergency. I keep it under 30% of the amount. I have a $400 limit right now. I like to keep it low, that way, you know, my fiance doesn't get too crazy about spending it. So that keeps me at $120 or less, and I usually use that for a reoccurring bill that I know I'm going to pay each month, like my Hulu, Netflix account, as well as for gas. It's amazing what you can spend on gas that can be used to build up your credit. So I mean, I know everybody out there, if you're driving a car, you're having to go out and buy gas, and that's money that you knew you were already going to spend. So it makes it really easy. That way you're not having to worry about how much you're spending, because you know that you're already going to spend that money, so you're going to have it. So like I said, make sure to be financially responsible with these cards. Only spend the money that you know that you're going to have. Don't get into any financial crises with these cards, because I know that there's people out there that get approved for anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 on their credit limit, and they go out there and they go on vacations and expect a big bonus to be coming in, and then they don't get it, and it just screws up their credit limit. As well as their credit period. So I don't want that to happen to you guys. What I would recommend, and also what most credit bureaus recommend, is keep it under that 30% of your credit limit. That way you can keep building your credit, and you can also make sure that it's something that you're going to be able to pay off. Because if you can't pay off 30% of that limit, then you don't need that much credit limit. If anything, bring it down to 20 or 10% just to keep yourself in check. Because that's what this is about, is basically helping your credit and helping you budget a little bit better as well. So now, the way that credit cards work is there's two types of them. You're going to have a secured credit card, which basically all that is they're going to ask you for a security deposit, and you'll have to get with them. They'll have in the terms and conditions on exactly if you're going to get that back after you're done with the credit card or not. It just depends on the company, but that secured deposit goes towards your credit limit. So basically, if you're sending them $800, $500, $400, usually it's not too much if it's a secured card, because those are the people that don't have a very high credit score and can't get approved for the unsecured cards. So you'll be sending them that money, and basically it's just a way for you guys to use their card to build your credit limit. That way you can get into cards that give you rewards, or so that you're not having to worry about having a ton of interest, because those cards usually do have quite a bit of interest on them. The other card that I was talking about, an unsecured card, it's basically just the opposite of that. You're not having to give them money in order to get into that card. Sometimes they'll have like a little maintenance fee just to make sure that you're a real person. But like I said, it goes off your credit score. So they're basically going to determine off your credit score how much of a credit limit you're going to get. They'll let you know, and then they'll send you your card, and you can decide whether or not to activate it. And that's another thing. Just because you guys signed up for a card and it came out in the mail doesn't mean that it's on your credit. Now it'll count as a hard inquiry for your credit, and it gets pretty technical with all that, so I don't want to get too much into credit. I'll make a video later on for you guys explaining a little bit more about it, because I know credit can be a pretty daunting thing to learn about, and it definitely helps if somebody else explains it to you and then you go out and look at it yourself. That way you can get two kind of perspectives on it, and it will definitely help out, but that's beside the point. Like I said, with this, it'll go by your credit score to determine how much your credit limit will be, and then that'll tell you how much you're going to get, whether it's like 400 like how much I have right now, or if you're going to get 1,000 or more. I know that there's even credit limits out there where you don't even have a limit. You can just spend whatever, but honestly, I'd recommend to stay away from that unless you're using it for a business or something like that, or you're a bigwig that can spend whatever you want. All right, so for the people that are using these cards to build your credit limit, like I said, keep it under that 30%. It definitely helps out. That's how I've built my credit up so much. The way that these cards work, I'm going to explain to you guys what you want to look out for with them. The first thing that you want to look out for is the annual maintenance fee, or the annual payment that you're going to have to pay them in order to just have the credit card through their company. A lot of them will be $100, $50, $75. Some of them don't have one whatsoever, and that's usually the ones with higher credit scores that you're able to get into. But just look out for that the first thing, because I know a lot of people, they don't notice that, and they'll wonder a year later, because a lot of them, they'll give you the first year free, and then they'll start charging you the year after, and they'll wonder, why the heck do I have $100 on my card? I haven't even used it. And that's the reason why, is a lot of them have an annual fee that you have to pay in order to just have the card through that company. The second thing, and this one's a big one, I know that everybody knows about it, is you need to make sure to check on the interest of that card. And it's going to have, a lot of the times, an APR, annual percentage rate. I know a lot of people don't know exactly what that is, and basically it's just putting a number in front of you that's for the whole year. You're going to take that number and divide it by 12, and that's how much your interest would be monthly if you went over the billing cycle, or however their interest works. So like I said, if you had a 24% APR, you'll just divide that by 12, and then your monthly interest would be 2%. If you accrued interest on the amount. So say you spent $200, that would be just $4 over it. So like I said, people, these things aren't built to get you guys in a bunch of debt. It's just determined on exactly how well you can budget yourself and be financially responsible. Like I said, all I use mine for is just for gas and reoccurring bills like my Hulu, Netflix, Xbox Live, that I know that I'm gonna pay. It makes it really simple. It makes it easy to where I can keep the amount low. That way I can keep on building on my credit score, and I'm not freaking out about whether or not I'm going to be able to pay it, or wondering if I'm going to be able to get that bonus next month that's going to be able to pay it off. The third thing that I would have you guys do is definitely make sure to see how their interest works, because a lot of cards, they'll have it to where either you pay from from the date that you spent that money. So say you spent it on the 1st, they'll have it to where you have to pay it within 30 days before it accrues interest. So like the 31st of that month or the next 1st, you have to pay it off before then. Otherwise, it'll accrue that interest on it. Or other cards, they'll have a billing cycle where, say, it goes from the 15th of one month to the 14th of the next, and that will determine on whether or not that interest will be applied on whether or not you paid it before the billing cycle quit out. So just make sure to look for that. Just see exactly how their interest applies. If anything, call the company and ask them, hey, if I spend money on this date, how long do I have before I have to pay it off? That way I'm not having to pay interest on the card, because you guys need to be smart about it. You have to be financially educated about your card if you want to get one. That way you can stay ahead of the game, and you're not digging yourself into a hole of financial debt. The last thing that I would recommend for you guys is definitely to make sure exactly how they can help you out whenever you do get in a financial crisis. I would recommend this ahead of time, that way you can be prepared for it. Not to say that you guys aren't awesome and that you're going to keep up with your credit card, but just in case, because I've been in that situation. Last year, my leg just snapped on me out of nowhere, and I had already spent money on the card that I didn't have if I wasn't getting another check, and it took a little while for my workers' comp to come in, so I was in a little bit of a bind. So I called up to the credit card company, and luckily they worked out a plan for me so that I wasn't building up a whole bunch of interest, and that way I could slowly pay it off. And if anything, they also let me suspend the card, which brought down the interest rate. So I don't know if you guys would be able to do that. Definitely call your company though to see exactly what you can do in case you get into a financial emergency. That way you're not worried about it whenever it does come up. Okay, so like I said, with these credit cards, don't be scared of them, guys. They can help you guys out a ton, especially if you're somebody that's going to want to buy a house later on, or if you're trying to go out and get a nice fancy car and not have to put too much down or anything like that. They can help build your credit limit. So go out there, make sure to check and see how much it's going to cost you yearly with the card to see if they have a yearly fee. Check the interest rate with them to make sure that the interest rate is something that you agree with, and see exactly how that interest worked. That way you know when you need to pay off that amount so that you're not having to pay extra, because like I said, you need to be financially smart about these cards if you want to use them. And I hope this video has definitely helped you guys out in figuring out on whether or not this would be a good option for you guys, because credit cards can help you guys out a ton. I know I plan on getting like a Discovery card that gives me cash back, because if I'm spending money, why can't I get a little bit back from it? I mean, we're all consumers these days, and there's plenty of companies out there these days that will give you money back for just spending money out there and helping the economy. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope that I've helped you guys understand credit cards a little bit more. Remember, with finding freedom, a happy mind is all you'll find. Thanks again, and you guys have a great day.